At the edge of a quiet valley, nestled between low green hills and a winding river, stood a small monastery built of old gray stone. Time had softened its walls, and moss crept lovingly into its cracks, as if nature itself wished to meditate there. Few travelers visited this place. Fewer still stayed long enough to understand it, and among all who lived there, the most talked about figure was an old monk named Ananda. Every morning, just as the sun spilled its first golden light across the valley, Ananda would step out of his simple hut. He wore the same faded robe every day, patched in places, clean but worn. His hair was thin and white, his face lined like a dried leaf, yet his eyes held a strange calm, deep, steady, and clear. After washing his face at the river, Ananda would walk to the courtyard. There, beside an ancient banyan tree, lay a large, rough stone. It was not sacred, nor engraved, nor beautiful. It was simply a stone, heavy, dull, and ordinary. And every single day, Ananda would bend down, lift the stone with both hands, hold it close to his chest for a few moments, and then gently place it back on the ground. That was all. No prayer, no chant, no explanation. The younger monks watched him at first with curiosity, then with confusion, eventually with amusement. Poor old Ananda, one novice whispered. His mind must be fading. What wisdom could there be in lifting a useless stone? Another laughed. The villagers, too, had their opinions. Children passing by would stop to stare, giggling. Farmers shook their heads. Such a holy man, they said, and yet he wastes his strength on a rock. If he helped in the fields, at least his labor would feed someone. But Ananda never responded. He never explained. He never defended himself. He simply lifted the stone. The curious novice. One morning, a new novice named Tenzin arrived at the monastery. He was young, barely 18, with sharp eyes and a restless mind. He had left his home seeking answers about life, about suffering, about the constant noise inside his head. On his very first day, he noticed Ananda. Tenzin watched silently as the old monk lifted the stone. There was no struggle on Ananda's face, but no ease either. His breathing slowed, his posture straightened. For a brief moment, the entire courtyard seemed still. Then the stone was set down. That night, Tenzin could not sleep. The image of the monk and the stone returned to him again and again. The next morning, he finally gathered the courage to ask, "Master Ananda," Tenzin said respectfully, bowing low, "forgive my ignorance, but may I ask, why do you lift that stone every day?" Ananda looked at him for a long moment. His lips curved into a faint smile. "Why do you eat every day?" he asked gently. Tenzin blinked. "To survive." "And why do you breathe?" "Because I must." Ananda nodded. "Then come tomorrow. Watch again." That was all he said. Years of watching. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. Tenzin stayed, studied, meditated, and served. Yet every morning, without fail, Ananda lifted the stone. Sometimes it rained. Sometimes the sun burned fiercely. Sometimes Ananda's hands trembled slightly with age. Still, the stone rose. As years passed, Ananda grew older. His back bent more. His steps slowed. The stone, however, remained the same. People noticed something else too. Though Ananda aged, his presence grew stronger. When he spoke, even briefly, others listened. When he sat in silence, arguments faded. Angry monks calmed. Troubled villagers left feeling lighter, though they could not say why. And still, no one understood the stone. The king's visit. One year, news spread that the king of the region would visit the monastery. He was known for his wealth, power, and sharp intellect, but also for his dissatisfaction. Despite everything he possessed, peace escaped him. The monks cleaned the monastery, prepared food, and arranged prayers. The king arrived with soldiers, ministers, and great ceremony. As he walked through the courtyard, his eyes fell upon Ananda just as the old monk was lifting the stone. The king stopped. "What is this?" he demanded. The abbot explained. "He is one of our oldest monks, your majesty. He lifts that stone every morning." "For what purpose?" the king asked. The abbot hesitated. "We do not know." The king laughed loudly. "Then he is a fool. Bring him to me." Ananda was summoned. "Old man," the king said, "I have gold, land, armies, and knowledge. Tell me what wisdom lies in lifting a stone like a laborer with no goal." Ananda bowed deeply. "Your majesty," he said softly, "may I ask you something first?" The king nodded impatiently. "How heavy is your crown?" The king frowned. "Not very." "Then why does it exhaust you?" Silence fell. The king felt something tighten in his chest. "What do you mean?" Ananda gestured toward the stone. "I lift this stone so I remember its weight." You carry many stones you cannot see." The king said nothing. That night, he could not sleep. The falling stone. Years later, Ananda's health began to fail. His hands shook more noticeably. One cold morning, as the monks watched from a distance, Ananda tried to lift the stone and failed. It slipped from his grasp and fell back to the ground with a dull thud. A gasp went through the courtyard. Ananda did not try again. He simply stood there, breathing heavily, his eyes closed. The next morning, he did not come out. By evening, the monks found him lying peacefully in his hut. Ananda had passed away. The stone remained. The lesson revealed. After Ananda's death, the monastery felt emptier. The stone lay untouched. Some suggested removing it. But Tenzin, now a senior monk, stopped them. "Leave it," he said. One morning, Tenzin walked to the stone. He bent down and lifted it. It was heavy, far heavier than he expected. His arms strained. His breath shortened. He held it only for a moment before placing it back down. And suddenly, he understood. That day, Tenzin gathered the monks and villagers. Ananda was not lifting the stone to strengthen his body, he said. He was lifting it to train his mind. He explained. The stone was his burden chosen, simple, honest. By lifting it daily, he practiced awareness of weight, effort, and limits. He learned patience, humility, presence. When life placed heavier, invisible stones on his heart, loss, pain, pride, fear, he knew how to carry them, or how to put them down. The people listened in silence. The stone today. Years passed. Travelers now visit the monastery not for its beauty, but for its story. The stone still lies beneath the banyan tree. No one lifts it every day, but sometimes, when someone feels overwhelmed by life, they approach the stone. They try to lift it. Some fail. Some succeed for a moment, and when they walk away, they feel a little lighter, because they understand. It is not the stone you lift that matters. It is the weight you learn to carry and the wisdom to know when to let go. If you want, I can shorten it, make it darker or more philosophical, add stronger moral lines, adapt it for children. Just tell me. So thanks for watching this video, and I appreciate you learn new lesson today. And let's comment what's you learned today and how can help your life be calm and peaceful.